Gordon, this is Sharon. Away team, you get to call whenever you're ready. Heads is the call, and it is a tail. Tail. Thanks. Sharon?
Hawthorn winning the toss and kicking to the right of the screen. Now, Neil Craig, we've already seen him earlier, and one thing he identified after that loss against Collingwood last weekend was their forward entries. Now, they smashed Collingwood for inside 50s, but this is what they were doing. He talked about the fact that they were giving the ball up. These entries were too shallow. He doesn't want the side to go in around 40 or 50 metres. He wants them to penetrate deep inside the forward line. This is what they do on this occasion. The kick goes in long, deep. They get a mark and they get the chance to convert. So that's been an area of concentration for them this week.
Interesting bench as far as the Crows are concerned. Rory Sloane, the first gamer, is starting down there, and alongside him a couple of veterans, Andrew McLeod and Tyson Edwards. And Rory needs his autograph book. One game, 300 games. They're equals tonight, at least as we start Friday night football. The Oval Office, we're set to go. The umpires McBurney, Chamberlain and Meredith underway. Such an important game. There's one down by Marriage over the football. Shirley stolen away by Sewell, tackled by Knights.
Both teams already starting with a loose player in each of the opposition's forward lines. Luke Hodge for Hawthorn and Brad Symes at the other end for the Crows.
I think the Crows set it up, Bucks. I think they were the one who sent Symes forward, so that's how it all started.
Well, they're now back to one-on-one. Shirley's gone to pick up Hodge.
Bateman went to ground. Bernie Vince having a fine season, lays it off. Marriage. Now Riley kicks wide. Douglas is in front out there. Birchall is with him. Douglas tried to knock it down to his own advantage. Goes behind to Campbell, to Gillam. Slips a hand pass away to Schoenmakers. Hodge. McGlynn. Osborne. It's going to be a free kick to Hawthorn. Advantage is paid. Birchall has got it. Awkward half volley. Made to look easy enough by Osborne. Kicks it down towards half forward. Muston falling to the ground. Taken down is Goodwin. That ball slow to release. Play on's the call. Doughty on his knees. Thompson. Tackling is strong from Hawthorn. We'll have a ball up on the outer side as Riley is playing.
Well, Hawthorn had 169 kicks and 214 handballs last week. They've had one kick and 8 handballs this week. They're obviously committed to the run and carry, so Adelaide are going to have the chance to lay tackles.
Marriage wins the tap. Vince bursts away. Good kick wide. Paul Pleasure. And started Gillam on Paul Pleasure. Paul Pleasure's probing kick. Tippett waits for it. Waits for the bounce. Campbell with him. He keeps it in, the big guy. Tippett along the boundary and then kicks to centre half forward. Ball still to be won. Knights, good hip and shoulder by Lewis. Henshaw, first attack on the footy. Overran it. Good hands. Schoenmakers searching, finding, and then coming away. So he's had a good start, Schoenmakers, with a couple of terrific disposals down back. And the Hawks through the centre.
Kennedy gave it to Osborne. Spots a man loose down towards right half forward. That's Morton. Morton kicks to space. Franklin starting deep. Hands to it. Runs free behind. Brown, like a cork in the ocean, slid in there. Over the top comes John Cock. McGlynn bounces to his feet but is penalised for holding the ball.
White Campbell, white!
Talk about those sort of handballs when from that previous stoppage when was it Van Berler or Vince came clear with the footy, ran 20 metres and was able to kick it into space. They're the real damaging disposals.
Vince takes a while holding the footy. Like bad news, Cyril Rioli travels very quickly. Short one to Sewell.
And Brent Riley, a very unhappy Crows member who was actually there for the forward handball for Bernie Vince. But as you said here, we see them try to set up this switch to the fat side, and Brent Riley there front and centre for a handball not used.
Brad Sewell, 35 metres out, kicks truly.
I guess those chase downs in the forward 50 are just so critical, and Cirioli is extremely good at that. That was the free kick before the ball was switched over here, but he certainly got him. He certainly Vince didn't seem to be ready to react, as if he wasn't expecting the chase. Rioli was prominent early in the year against the Crows when he kicked 4 goals in a losing team, and tonight helping to set that up. So Sewell gets his first goal ever against the Crows in his 7th match. Hawthorn get the first here at the G. McGlynn, well done by Van Berlo on hands and knees. G. Taylor's tackle good on Marriage. And then Lewis and his 100th. Well done Bateman. And then McGlynn. Now Hodge on the right side for him. He might load up here and go for it. Well, he did. And sprayed it. Sitting on 99 goals, Luke Hodge. Well, slow kick coming out. Mark Pate, I think, here.
He's in the contest. With me, thank you.
So John Cock.
The same spot as last time, to the same bloke.
So Goodwin.
Goodwin outside the boundary, then inside. Here's Vince. Again under pressure in that back pocket. Touched off the boot. Otten's got a problem. Slid into the waiting arms down there of Osborne. Osborne all over the top of him, and the umpire decides to ball it up.
Thank you.
The last centre bounce, we see Luke Hodge was the player behind the ball initially for Hawthorn, but Sam Mitchell this time, and then being directed to the most dangerous space in the Crows forward line by his teammate.
Taylor and Marriage. Third man up, Doughty to Otten. Socket off the ground. Rioli! Unbelievable.
So all of a sudden you think Hawthorn might be on tonight in this first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. The chase down by Rioli got him the first goal. And then the kick out of mid-air from probably 40 metres straight through the middle. Fantastic ball control. So just maybe that's a great morale booster for the Hawks. They've gone forward twice, got 2 goals. All of a sudden they got the game running their way.
If you've ever wondered how damaging a small forward can be and how important Cyril Rioli is to this team, he's already had a chase down tackle that set up the first goal for Brad Sewell, and then that opportunist goal off the ground. Fantastic start to the game.
Marriage second up, just dropped the footy down.
We spoke about it a little bit. For some reason at the centre bounces, Adelaide are pushing Symes back and being a 7th defender. Hawthorn have already got 6 forwards. So it means Hawthorn have basically got the 4 defenders versus the 3 Adelaide forwards, which is a better setup numerically. I'm not sure why they're doing that. We'll see if it keeps happening.
Marriage won the tight, but McGlynn did well, and then Lewis to McGlynn. McGlynn running hard and then brings it back to full forward. Franklin, but at the back. Taken by Morton.
Well, right now it's the Hawthorn midfield that are doing the damage. They're winning clearances. They're coming out of those clearances and spreading really well. You can see they're all on their toes. Their intensity is very good. They are trying to push forward when they win the ball, and they're taking advantage of it.
So Morton back in the team tonight. He played 8 of the first 10 and has missed the last 9 matches and given that a hook. So he's playing as the second tall forward tonight. Kick goals early in the season, a couple against Sydney and a couple against Northville. John Cock quickly bringing it back in, but he created a problem. It was good play there by Doughty to get it back. Under pressure, Otten, cut off by Mitchell. Mitchell to Franklin. Franklin to Lewis, to McGlynn. And McGlynn goes for goal. And Hawthorn looked terrific.
Yes, they are scoring very easily at this early part of the game. The Crows are going to have to regroup a bit here. That looping handball set up Ottens, and the Hawthorn team just pounced on him. But 3 shots, pretty much 3 goals. Adelaide are getting killed out of the middle at the moment. That's where it's got to start. They've got to try and get a few of these centre bounce clearances.
What about this start? 7 goals for the game last week. Already 3 tonight. Jared Roughhead looking on, no doubt, in the crowd, thinking, obviously, I'm the problem. Renouf knocks it down. Lewis, everything, as Buck said, emanating from the centre. Another chance. This is Savage, the first gamer. Tackled by Marriage. Fumble from Lewis. Taken front on and wrestled down by Riley.
Thank you.
So bounce down towards half forward for Adelaide. If my memory serves me correctly, haven't been inside their forward 50 yet. Renouf goes after the footy, spills wide. Lewis kept his head pretty well. Mitchell swings it wider, taken by Gillam. Gillam comes out to the wing. Rioli, who's been sensational, taking no chances. Doughty gets it out of the area. Leading in the race, though, is Tuck. Tuck slips a hand pass to Gillam. Well done, Doughty ran on, applied a strong tackle. Tuck throws himself at the football. And the umpire decides to ball it up on the wing. At the base of that is Douglas.
So Renouf and also Merritt, Thompson, Van Berlo. Riley went without it. McGlynn quickly onto him. And Hawthorn with numbers.
You can tell they're up. Ben McGlynn diving headfirst into that loose ball to prevent the Crows player taking an uncontested possession. 11-5 there on the screen in contested possessions. Hawks, good attitude.
So Renouf and Seller. Riley. Stevens, good handball and release. Good one on the right side for him, a left footer. Kicks to centre half forward. Poplesia, the big fly. Hawthorn with numbers. Hodge free kick.
Luke Hodge!
As we know, Shirley is trying to go to Hodge. Hodge is just trying to get to Poplesia to try and make that matchup of Shirley impossible.
So Hodge to Mitchell, and then Mitchell running off McLeod. Long kick to Muston. So Muston off in a hurry. Sloan on the mark, having his first run.
Good fist from Van Berlo. Muston went to ground. Ditto Sewell. Rival coaches. Neil Craig has won 3 out of 7 against Alistair Clarkson. Rucks go at it. Marginally won by Adelaide, stolen away by Campbell. McGlynn, cross half back. Gillam. Now Bateman. Into the path of Shields. Gets a kind bounce, flicks it away quickly. Speed of foot, Osborne, speed of foot, running down towards half forward, goes to the pocket, not the spot for it.
Well, that's the reason why I didn't kick it in straight away. Crows have got that loose player behind the ball. And Hawthorn able to hold them in here and stop the rebound.
This is Doughty. Saw Henschel deep in the opposite pocket, might get it again here. In fact, it's Stevens who's got it. Who kicks beyond Henschel, and we've got a whistle, and it's going to be a relayed free kick. Seller may get it down the ground for Adelaide, who trail wide now by 19 points, still on Adelaide time.
2 metres to the side. Get back, guys. You've gone 5 metres now.
We've spoken a couple of times about Adelaide playing the spare back. Well, St Kilda, who Hawthorn played last week, they always tend to generate a spare bloke behind the footy. So Hawthorn had good practice last week, and normally you learn from your mistakes. So I'm sure they spoke a lot this week about what to do if the opposition do play the extra defender.
So Seller to Henschel to Edwards. So Adelaide trying to generate some run from half-back, and now Rutten. Well, Poplesia's outnumbered here, 3-1. They get a contest, though, in the end, and he did well with a toe poke. Birchall cleverly, and then Gillam wants the line and finds it. So, hard going for the Crows. They're like they're in quicksand at the moment. They're really plodding along. Hawthorn with all the scoring. Adelaide hardly getting it inside 50. Sloan doing well. Been playing for North Adelaide and playing very well. Picked up in the draft last year. That's the Hawthorn forward set up. That spare man for the Crows. Renouf tapped it down.
He's got the ball. Sam, no clear advantage.
So back it comes. Tuck.
Tuck spears the pass in. Read brilliantly by Vince. Ghosting across, took the mark. Drives it inside the forward 50. Now it's 3-on-1 down there, but the one prevails. Campbell at the second attempt. Mitchell is breaking for him to the outer side. Not the best kick in the world. Vince is able to come back. In fact, it's Van Berlo who controls it brilliantly. McLeod on the burst inside the forward 50. Low down for Tippett. Diving after the football tuck. Did brilliantly to Birchall. Mitchell. Birchall. Barely the 15. Mustard on the outer side. Comes back to Bateman. Bateman confronted. Slips a hand pass away to McGlynn. Running into trouble with Shields. Ran off. Gee. Their hand pass to get close quarters. Eventually it had to come unstuck. Bateman went to the ground. The hand pass comes across from Sloan. Opportunity now for Riley. Riley a hand pass to Goodwin. Johncock with some time towards half forward. Sloan takes the mark. He's getting busy. Downey on the overlap. 60 metres out. Portlesia tracks it close to the boundary line. Schoenmakers, the Adelaide boy, just had to play the percentages and knocked it out of bounds.
Just hasn't been working for the Crows. They've went forward twice. Had easy targets in the forward 50, but the kick went to ground both times.
So Tippett doing the ruck work. Now tuck to Gillum. Gillum with some time. Bateman. So often a link man. Good kick coming out of the back to Campbell Brown. Now Savage had to wait a bit.
Crows giving the Hawks a taste of their own medicine with a bit of a zone set up through the midfield. You can see them there just guarding space and not their direct opponent.
So long kick by Savage. Lewis worrying Johncock out of it, actually did very well, and then Stevens cuts it off. Henschel, who started forward and then went into the back half when things weren't going well early. Johncock got it from Edwards. Now Otten with a bit of time. Knight's a left footer. Mitchell will know that.
Thank you.
Now Thompson provides the lead and he's going to go to him. So Thompson 60 metres from goal. He's looking inside. Tippett's been the target so far. You've got Tippett and Portlesia about 20 metres from goal.
A lot of Hawthorn players back though.
Sure.
So Schoenmakers, poorly directed kick and he cuts it off.
Some danger in that kick, but Osborne makes it look okay. Is it left half back? Short one. Lewis. Rioli. Towards half forward. Will it run on to Mitchell? It does. Will it sit for Mitchell? It does. Otten goes to ground. Mitchell looks inside the forward 50. Franklin or Ruff. I was going to say Ruff here. He's not out there. On the lead. Wasn't he sprightly? It confused me. He's got the footy about 40 metres out, if that, on a 45-degree angle.
Graham, don't go forward of it.
It's amazing that Mitchell was able to get that much time and space. He was on the fat side and it was a long kick from Cyril Rioli. It wasn't directed at Mitchell, but he was able to get him behind the defence and then get free to put that pass in.
Went off. Very athletic. And he comes. The kick misses to the near side. So it's all Hawthorn. Adelaide yet to score. Just over 8.5 minutes out from quarter time.
No closer, hold it there.
He's only kicked the one goal, Renniff, in his short career. He's got a premiership
Play on.
last year coming in late. That goal came actually in Tassie last week against the Saints when goals were so hard. Goodwin getting it from Vince, and then Shirley holding his ground well against Birchall. Good handball in the end, and they're not able to get enough on it to Van Berlo, but he fumbled. Probably symbolises what we're seeing from Adelaide so far. So Douglas is free for a high one. But again, that's a dangerous kick.
2 metres.
Seller was up for it.
Thank you. Play on. Play on.
So Edwards from Seller. The big switch now to Stevens, and then the short one to Thompson.
Hold Jagger. Play on.
And Thompson back inside to Seller. So they're using the big guy a bit here. This time last year he was playing in the reserves for the Bays. That's 50, I think.
Well, you need a little bit of good fortune every now and again, and the Crows really just haven't been looked like generating a shot at goal. So a 50-metre penalty gives them a very nice chance.
think he's a bit stiff there. James Seller. Well, he hasn't kicked an AFL goal. He kicked 3 down in Dubai when we were there early last year. That's a poor shot. And nothing right happening. I reckon Adelaide would like to just start this one all over again.
I think they would. It's been a very poor first 15 minutes. I mean, Hawthorn have been okay. They got those first 3 goals. But at the moment, goals look a long way from being scored by either team all of a sudden.
Both sides have gone inside their respective 56 times each. Hawthorn scored 5 times, and that was the first score for the Crows.
Taylor up very high, couldn't hang on. And we've got a bounce coming up.
But in general flow of play, you can just see that the intensity is with Hawthorn. Adelaide are a little bit fumbly, second-guessing themselves. Hawthorn are in front, first to move. They really are the aggressors at the moment.
Plenty of space up ahead, as you could see. Tied up is Kennedy. Vince emerging with the football, taken down by Osborne. And their tackling is ferocious at the moment, the Hawks. Bounce, right half forward for Adelaide. At least they're on the board now, 7 minutes out from quarter time. Seller battles with Taylor. And Taylor gets the free.
Right on the mark.
Well, very pleased with that.
Move it on.
Taylor, not a favourite with his own fans sometimes. That is very short. Franklin paid the mark. Raking kick down towards half forward. Goodwin coming across on the angle. Seems to have it covered but fell over. Lewis kept it going. Well done. Brown bounces it down towards the pocket. Riley unkind bounce. Morton open goal. And he puts it through. Morton kicks the goal.
And sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. You don't get the luck. And I mean, on this occasion, this was really good play by Lewis to stay somewhere near upright. Campbell Brown to get the ball forward, but we've got to attack the ball there, Riley. Perhaps he could have got to the bounce a little quicker to try and control it, but it just fell into Morton's lap. It was a good goal in the end.
Well, that was the first time Buddy Franklin's really come up the ground. He's been playing as a deep forward, being picked up by Rutten, and I just wonder whether or not we'll see him pushing further and further up the ground because of the penetration then in his kick and his ability to open up the play like we've just seen.
Gee, Lewis has been good in this opening term. 9 disposals, and a lot of them have counted. Adelaide worker back, Riley, and then John Cock to Portpleasure, who looks up, and that's a better kick. The first time they've really found a target. Marriage, and then Symes inside 50, going for goal. Campbell getting back. Henschel, and well done, Hodge behind. So Symes not getting much on the kick in the end. It's not the longest kick in the Crows, obviously, but he was inside the 50.
Thanks, Chris.
So Bateman.
Move it on, Chance. Play on.
Short in the back half to Birchall.
Right on it, thanks, Ben. Play on.
Put an option out very wide to Rioli if they can get it that far. They've decided to stay on the thin side to McGlynn. And Hawthorn can afford to do this now. They've got 4 goals on the board. They can set the tempo. They've made the early running. Mustin inside. Buddy on the burst.
Now will it bounce nicely. Taken by Bateman. Kicks down towards the attacking 50. Running back with the football. Stevens gets it. Franklin got him. Moments ago he had the ball across half back. Now Brown gets a hand pass. Paddles it down towards half forward. Hand passes. Kennedy is through. Into the open goal goes Lewis.
That was great athleticism, wasn't it, by Franklin? He was the one who started the ball on the wing and was able to follow the possessions down and just lay this really, really good tackle. Didn't get Stevens a chance, pinged him as soon as the ball went to ground. The Adelaide defence is completely out position, and the Hawthorn just got the extra numbers in there. Franklin's looking pretty energetic tonight. He was still there for the hand pass if he wanted to be used. That's about a 4th effort.
Jordan Lewis is 10th touch, but his first kick. That's the Adelaide forward line. There's only 4 pairs in there and a loose Hawthorn player. Down the other end, we've got a lot more congestion in Hawthorn's forward line, but it doesn't really matter if you've got space there if you can't use it. Getting the ball down there in the first place is half the battle.
Just in those basic numbers, because what you've really got is 6 Hawthorn forwards against 7 Adelaide defenders. OK, 7 versus 6 will win reasonably. But if you've got 4 defenders versus 3 forwards, the 4 will win much more off at just the percentages of numbers.
It's a good tap, and then Kennedy's high ball to half forward. Riley and Lewis has been so prominent, Lewis, and he sets up Rioli. Rioli's in a good spot. Well, he'd only kicked 3 goals in his last 6 matches, Rioli. That was since he kicked 4 against the Crows. But tonight, you just feel he's on for something very large.
Well, you never know what you're going to get when you come to the game of footy. That's what we love about it. But the Crows have been completely off in this first quarter. They've been in pretty good touch lately.
Here's John Cobb.
Breaks away at half-back, kicks long towards the wing, coming back with the flight of it, claiming the mark is Marriage. Symes is through, running down towards half-forward. On the lead, Portlesia spilt the mark and then proceeds to tackle the man high. Birchall. Well, the umpire says no, he'll ball it up. The tackle did slip high, but I think Portlesia was given the benefit of the doubt.
Well, that was... Symes is at least showing some signs of covering the lines, but that kick in was wonky and obviously should have been a chest mark to Portlesia. Nothing going right for the Crows.
They get technical. Shields got a hand pass from Osborne. A hand pass runs up towards half-back. He had his dukes up there, McGlynn, as he came through. He fumbled. He put his mitts up. And the Adelaide player virtually stepped aside. So McGlynn's got the football at half-back.
Move it on.
Well, that was another contested possession, and they've doubled them. It's 29-14, and really that's the tail of the game.
So Muston, Franklin, also looking damaging. Savage enjoying this first few minutes. That's holding the ball.
No handball. Get back. No handball there.
So Marriage.
Right on there.
Franklin cutting off the Riley run.
Just about disappeared. I don't reckon I've seen an advantage played for quite a while now.
So Adelaide backtracking here. John Cock, Rutten, Henshaw.
That was a bad kick going from centre half back out to the back pocket. All of a sudden you're just going to go sideways across the back line. Hawthorn will get their defence in place.
So Riley to Rutten.
Come back, Campbell. Come back a metre, Campbell. Back here, Campbell.
Film as if Lee, they're trying to compose themselves at the moment.
Yeah,
but
well, that's true. But they're not getting through the centre square. Hawthorn are very well set in their back half, whereas as Adelaide are playing the ball across.
And one of Neil Craig's big themes this year has been to play with flair and take chances and play with courage and try and break the lines. But 5 goals behind, they're a bit rattled early.
Symes at least is trying to run the ball. Here's Knights, a man capable of doing that. Up from the back pocket.
Move it on.
Last time these sides played, it was Knights who set Adelaide alight with a couple of early goals. Here's Otten.
You reckon you should have a time clock? Got to get the ball out of your defence in 30 seconds?
Move it on.
Well,
Adelaide have been there about a minute.
Well, the ball explodes. That'll get their attention. Stripping around the outer side. In front, Marriage, another strong grab. Thought about giving. Now decides to kick it down towards half forward. In front, Stevens. Lewis did well, got it on the ground. That's his wheelhouse, but the third man gets the cheese. McLeod slips a hand pass away around the boundary. Stevens pulls it back towards full forward. Portlesia got a hand to it. Loose ball, Portlesia. Knight slipped over. Taken by Gillam. Well, that's an interesting kick. It comes out towards the boundary from Kennedy. And I think that was his intention. He kicked the point of the ball, trying to get that banana going. Watch this. No doubt about it.
Robbie, don't block.
Got away with that one.
Campbell wins the tap. McGlynn a clearance. Doing well here. And now Saul. Tuck was involved earlier. Lewis so much of the ball. Kennedy's careful kick to Mitchell. Switches it to Bateman. Now he can go here. Birchall's in front of him, and he's got Showmakers as well. So there's a bit of a panic here. Showmakers has just come off into change. They can set up here for a late goal. He arches his back and gets around Doughty, and then kicks to the pocket. Campbell Brown's in a good spot. Didn't use Renouf. Still hasn't used anyone. Now goes back to Renouf. Slowly back. That's holding it, I think.
Back there.
Brown probably should have released it earlier.
They didn't get him confused that time.
He was halfway into his move then, Ben. It's just going to take another 30 seconds to finish.
If you've got to move, you've got to know where to move.
So Riley with a 50-metre penalty to his advantage.
So Doughty, forward of half-back, indicative of the way Adelaide are playing at the moment. Very uncertain. Now Stevens takes off from the Riley kick, has a bounce, and then feeds McLeod. McLeod, the defensive side of the wing, goes long. Tailor-made for Lewis, who could have marked, decided to punch. Can they get a late goal on that area? You bet they can. What a terrific kick from Thompson. Well, it took an error, a bad one from Lewis, to eventually enable Adelaide to get their first goal, but they did move it the length of the ground. Almost quarter time, and the margin is 25 points.
He less went in, didn't he, McLeod? He actually decided to go in. Ineffective spoil, and just that dribble goal that we see just about every week. Someone kicks one of those specials.
Scott Thompson's been a heavy goal scorer throughout his career. That's just his 4th goal for the year. Used predominantly in midfield rotations and not so much as a forward these days, but he's set up now 30 metres from goal and in that role.
The irony of that is that Lewis has been so damaging in this opening term, and he makes a blue, and Thompson kicks a half-chance goal, and Adelaide maybe gets some momentum going into quarter time, because it's been miserable really for them. They have looked like they've been starstruck here. It's like the bright lights have put them in a spell, hasn't it? Hawthorn getting the first 5 goals, but Adelaide getting a little bit of relief at the end.
They got the last one. That last goal was critical, because now they go into quarter time with at least that goal drought broken.
So quarter time here at the G, both teams with a lot to play for, and Hawthorn making all the early running. They lead it by 33-8 on Friday Night Footy.
So Lewis terrific in the opening term with 12 possessions, and really they've got to get a handle on that, as Tim was saying, very quickly. And realising that, the coach certainly spelling it out in no uncertain measure to his players at the quarter-time break. 5-3 to 1-2. As we said, 7 goals last week for Hawthorn in 4 quarters of footy. And tonight they've come out with enterprise and they've really attacked the game. What can Adelaide find in the second term?
Well, they decided not to put the loose man behind. They're playing man-on-man all over the ground.
Good bounce. They fought a draw. McGlynn stumbles.
Free kick, Jordan Lewis, thrown out by Andrew McLeod. Jordan Lewis, free kick.
Off the ball. More of Jordan Lewis. Comes across the ground. Bateman set a task, dropped the mark. Mitchell gathers the ball forward of the wing, just pops it up on the lead. Hodge. That's a good mark. Shielding the ball from the man directly behind him. That was Shirley.
Thank you.
So Hodge now with Franklin dropping back and wanting it long. Hodge flirts with that idea. Now there is space around Franklin, but that's not the kick for him. He won't get to the contest. Marriage takes the mark. Not a good kick coming in. Van Burlo. Now McLeod. McLeod drives it towards the middle of the ground. Henschel hands to it. Couldn't complete the mark. McGlynn's been terrific. Sweeps a hand pass across to Mitchell. Here come the Hawks again, and they spot a man in the pocket. Bateman takes it about 40 metres out.
Yeah, the Crows would have been disappointed with Trent Henschel then. He just didn't keep his head up.
Well, Bateman just misses. It looked online all the way except over the last 10 metres of the trip.
So John Cock. Short to Symes. Big night for Henschel. He's played two of the last...
You cannot run through the mark, Graham. Reset it, please.
Played two of the last 68 games the Crows have played, Henschel. They were the opening 2 games this season. It's been well publicised in Adelaide that his future's on the line, so geez, a big night for him. Stevens the fly.
Hi, Scott Stevens. Hi.
Marriage running hard. It's a good marriage. Had a fair bit of the ball, quickly gets it on. Van Berlo to centre half forward. There's a better build-up. Now Knight, who's a very long kick. He's outside 50, going for goal. Good mark, Tippett, and kicks the goal. And Adelaide suddenly are in the game.
One thing, you know, Tippett can do, he can float high. He's actually, while he's got the 200 centimetres, he's got that really long reach. He can really get his height. That was the key contest win, the free kick on the wing.
I was going to say here, he actually looks a lot more dangerous when he is that third man over. You know, if he's actually the key target,
into it.
He looks a lot better when he's the second pair in the pocket coming across the side of the pack.
I got a feeling if the umpire had the same view the TV camera did then, it would have been a free kick anyway. I think it was either Henschel who gave a decent shove to the other Hawthorn player in the goal square.
Tim. There's the bounce. Back to Tim in a moment. Over the football is Vince. Wrestled down by Taylor. And we'll have a bounce.
Next, Benny. Straight back.
And there he is.
And that guy on the left, Clinton Young, haven't they missed him this year? Well, Hawks.
Tapped down by Taylor. With the run of it, Vince. Van Berlo. In trouble, Thompson. McLeod. McLeod gets through, kicks inside the forward 50. Shirley worked off the line of the football, but camped in front, getting the crumb is Knights. Judging it pretty well off the boot was Henschel, worked in front, but the bounce stood him up and then goes away from him and across the line.
So Knights with a couple of inside 50s in the last minute. And Adelaide suddenly starting to look a bit dangerous here. Thompson, whose goal got them going. McLeod getting a fair bit of the ball. He's good enough from there. That not tonight across the face. But McLeod getting his hands on it as well. So suddenly back to a 19-point game.
Well, they've stabilised contested possessions. It's something like 6 or 7-0 this quarter to the Crows. So it's actually, they turned it around and they went man on man, and they would have had that stat at quarter time and they would have made it a focus for the beginning of this quarter.
So Birchall's going to go long. Taylor's his target. Takes a good mark over the top. Well, he's paid it to Symes.
Simon Britt.
He could easily give 50.
50 metres.
Yeah, he's not
50 metres.
For abuse.
50 metres.
We were talking about him before, Simon Taylor. Sometimes it's...
I don't think it was Simon Taylor's a booth, Dennis. I think it was McGlynn.
Yep.
I think it was another Hawthorn player inboard.
Okay.
Let's make sure we nominate the right victim.
It's definitely the umpire looked inside and...
yeah, I think it was McGlynn was the about 30 metres from the ball who actually...
Taylor could have easily been blown for time though.
Yeah.
He was taking, he was right on the cusp there.
Symes comes in and that's a shocker. Good time to pull his bottom lip over his head and swallow. That's a shocker.
Well, it's not his strength. So, showing makers.
It's 3 50-metre penalties in a quarter and a bit. Is 50-metre penalties been the coaching focus this week for the umpires, you think?
Well, they've made a good start, Lee. Here's Bateman.
Play on, you're off your line. Play on. Play on.
Some Bateman's sloppy handball to Hodge. And then Hodge looking for distance. Symes and Lewis. Symes in a similar spot to where he was before. Goodwin, good handball. McLeod at 50. Hooking back, good kick. Brilliant to Portpleasure.
Got to get the ball in the hands of the right player, don't you? All of a sudden, Andrew McLeod has got his hands on the ball 5 or 6 times in this last 10 or 15 minutes of the game. And when he does, something good seems to happen for the Crows.
Well, this guy, you'd reckon, is the right bloke to have his hands on the footy. Of the footballers that have kicked more than 20 goals this season, only Lacroix and Bradshaw have been more accurate from set shots. And Portlesia squeezes it home.
It's interesting the energy levels after he kicked that goal. He only just squeezed it in, but there wasn't a lot of life in the Adelaide group around him. They all come and patted him on the back. But this is didn't quite clear the ball. Good play by Symes to get back in, and great pick up by Goodwin. But when McLeod had the footy, he was able to find the free guy.
A little unkind, but I guess it's fair to say where they'll be in September. 5-4 plays 3-4 as Adelaide work their way back into the contest. Still not jumping out of their skins, as Lee mentioned, but they're applying themselves much better. Seller goes after the football. Sewell had it, dropped it, ran off. That's an interesting hand pass. Surely a throw. It was a one-hander. Umpire lets them play. McGlynn, he's been terrific.
And the umpire's on the other side of the play, which, again, so often the TV camera gets a better view than the umpire, because they can't be on both sides of the play at the same time. Clearly that view was a free kick.
McBurney standing away, though, at about 45 degrees down towards half forward, but maybe some bodies in his road as well. Renoff, well, delusions of adequacy with Renoff tonight. After that one good run, he fancies himself. He's taking on all borders. Anyone who wants to have a piece can have a piece of Renoff at the moment. 12 points the difference. Hawthorn in front. Second term on Friday night footy. Sellers got the face. Put on his game face there, but beaten for the tap. Those things make you angry. McLeod taken down. We'll have another ball up.
It's interesting the mindset. The Crows decided to play that spare defender in the first quarter, which means we're going to try and play the ball around with extra numbers in the back half. Now they've gone 10 to man on man over the field, and maybe that gives the mindset we've got to win the contest. Because certainly that's what they've started to do this quarter.
So Seller just getting over the top of Renoff, and then Thompson trying to get through, then Lewis. So a bit of gang tackling going on. Todd Viney on the left, Mark Bickley on the right. Mark inducted into the Hall of Fame. Todd, of course, such a part of Hawthorn last year. South Australian going home to the Crows this year. Played for Sturt in Adelaide. Symes quick up and under. Gets it to centre wing. Oh, Douglas kept his eye on it. It ricocheted off him, but he got a second crack. And then kicks to half forward. Tippett and Campbell. Bounce pretty important. Tippett worked it well. Back to McLeod again. You reckon it's in good hands. McLeod to the top of the goal square. Henschel outnumbered. Well done, Bateman. Gee, Portlesia missed one. You reckon he would have gobbled up normally. Then he puts the pressure on Gillum. Now Saul waits. Handball pretty good. Tuck searching okay. Mitchell. Bateman out of trouble.
Bateman drives it towards the wing. Lewis will fly from behind. Will got to the back of Riley. Crowd won't like this.
Put your arms up on the full. On the full now.
Riley's got the free.
Thank you.
On the wing. Looks towards the middle. A couple to choose from. The mark is held by John Cock. Behind him is Vince. John Cock continues to go across the ground. Doughty, normally good with the ball in his hands. Stevens confronted. Kennedy slowed him down, but he measured the kick beautifully. Just assess things to a nicety. And Vince has got it at centre half forward.
Ball doesn't usually travel as far under lights. Usually holds up maybe another extra 4 or 5 metres on daytime, but he is a big kick, Vince, and would usually cover the distance.
So Vince directly in front. He's kicked the goal. It would have been a long one in the daylight.
Very long kick. Got something to do with the dew, I think, Den.
You're very scientific tonight. Wobbly in the opening quarter and
wonky.
And a bit of physics in the second term.
But most of the time, you do think the ball travels further indoors at Etihad Stadium, doesn't it? Than outdoors at the MCG on most occasions.
They've had more kicks than us, Dennis. We're not going to argue with them, are they?
We are going into Adelaide. We've got to give a little bit of Blighty. Just a little bit.
Absolutely. You're giving a whole lot of him, though. So Bernie Vince's long goal in. The Bombers will be facing the Hawks before the end of the year. Matty Knight's there. I'll be hoping that Adelaide win tonight, just as Port Adelaide will be in this battle for the 8th spot.
Free kick.
I tell you what, though, Bruce, thank goodness for the other clubs. They get the attendance up, don't they?
Helps, doesn't it? Mitchell wide. So the little one from Gillam. So 8 of the 9 goals have been scored at the City end so far. Saul. No 50-metre penalty. So Saul going long to full forward. Morton from the front spot. Goodwin against the flow. Did very well. Back to John Cock. Back to Van Berlo. And Adelaide with some numbers on this side. Doughty to Riley. And Riley's handball not great, but Otten had to wait for it. He's okay now. And loads up to Tippett. Went early.
Oh, not sure about that.
So you heard the explanation, but maybe fortuitous there, Tippett.
To the pocket and Henshaw. Oh, that's a strong grab. That's Henshaw.
He kept his head up then. He kept the chin up rather than keeps your strength up in your hands.
Looking just a little unkept. He's in the right pocket. He'll take a very good kick from here.
Ben, remember where you are, Ben. You're more than 5 off the ball.
This to level the scores. A remarkable comeback by the Crows. He hasn't done that, though. Is it across the boundary on the full? No, off hands and out of bounds in the opposite pocket.
Glenn's been involved in a lot of contested possessions, some hard footy, but what we're seeing of the Hawks in this second quarter is what we've witnessed from them all year, just the inability to keep that intensity up.
Tippett, clean possession, snaps and misses. Something special about this young man, Kurt Tippett.
He'll have a crack at that. It's something opposition clubs will note, that he might well take the ball out of those boundary throwing situations. Be ready for that.
Right there, Kurt.
It's not a good sign for the Hawks, is it, Bateman?
Yeah.
And hopefully that's not going to impede him for the rest of the night. Gee, this is a remarkable first half. I mean, Adelaide were just so flat in the opening quarter.
Yep. Swap Guernseys.
Not off, Trent. Thank you.
And there's no gale blowing to that end, but you feel like, if you looked at the scoreboard, that it was a massive breeze. Just can't really get their hands on it, Hawthorn, or do anything with it, or get it out of their back 50 at the moment. So Doughty, who sets up so much, his last 2 or 3 seasons have probably been his best, Doughty. Taylor and Marriage. Marriage probably just won it. Sloan. McGlynn again getting down low.
My ball.
So getting down low, he starts pretty low, doesn't he? It's injury to Bateman.
Thanks, man.
So, no, that was Paul Pleasure. Full forward, so Bateman anyway having his thigh rub. Savage, well done. Mitchell in heavy traffic. Franklin probably got into the road of Saul there, and Adelaide with a chance to mop up. Otten, Knights, good tackle though, ripped it off him in close tuck.
That was a throw, went like that, free kick and late.
Gee. So against tuck.
It was a hot footy in there, wasn't it? The 10 players tackled it. It got touched and got tackled.
So Otten gives to Doughty, and then Doughty's probing kick out wide. Goodwin held up brilliantly by Rioli in the end.
Yep.
Mustin down low. Shields, Rioli. I think he's gone.
Has to be.
Well, no.
Got it clear.
Sloan and Savage, the 2 kids together playing their first games.
Holding the ball, dragged it in. No, dragged it in. Back there. Stay there, Jack, stay there.
He was the only one really attacking that ball on that occasion, wasn't he? He tried to pick it up and go again.
Here's Mitchell. Yeah, you're right. Kicks it short of the wing. Sewell had it punched away by Doughty. Coming through, Symes knocks it out of bounds. So boundary throw in, 5 points the difference. The margin was 25 at quarter time as Hawthorn run the changes. Not far to come. It's boundary throw in about 15 metres away from the interchange gates. Directed down by Marriage. Chance for Kennedy though. Into the path of McGlynn. She's worked hard, McGlynn. Well done there by Sloan. Got a man off the line of the footy. Edwards. Symes gave it across to McLeod. That bounced. In trouble, Tippett. He bounced. Chance now for Kennedy. He keeps it in. McGlynn a fumble. Out of bounds. Well, he's got reason to be tired, McGlynn. So it'll be thrown in. That man had a good lead at quarter time. Must have felt very content. But suddenly, in this green round, tackling climate change, that very large tropical depression that was hanging over the Adelaide box has moved to his.
Lewis, Doughty in the front spot, couldn't quite. Renouf, and then Stevens took a couple of the tacklers on.
Tyson Edwards was under a fair bit of heat here on the boundary line, but just experienced play. Get that fend up, turn around and look for your targets. Just really good bit of body play. Comes from experience in the game.
So Marriage is free. And the key there was that he didn't fend him off in the throat, did he?
And didn't jump off the ground. It was just... and he obviously knew there were no handball targets beyond Lewis, so he turned around and looked for some the other way.
Marriage has been pretty good. Van Berlo got away from Taylor, back to Edwards. You'll probably go to Doughty, no. Didn't panic, got it back inside to Vince. Sloan has to be quick. He is. He did very well, Sloan. To Rutten, and then Rutten with a lovely kick finds Tippett.
1 metre, Robbie. That's it, Dad. Yep, right there.
Actually, I like Sloan there because he had not much room for error. He's a big target, Tippett, isn't he? Whether on the burst or in the goal square leaping.
He's a really good player, isn't he? Huge upside.
You just feel like you can build a team around him, don't you?
Yep.
So he's a fair way out. He's kicked a goal in this quarter and has looked very dangerous. And that's a poor kick. Dreadful, actually.
Well, that's been the knock on him, and it's probably the hardest thing to transfer from a basketball background to making the kicking skill efficient. But in the air, we know that in one-on-ones in the top of the goal square, now in the lead, he actually times them pretty well.
Just put that team on hold for a moment, Bruce, as the short one comes from Mitchell along the boundary line. Muston's got it. He will come long, I think, to Gillam. He'll get there in time. Gillam's fumbled it. Now a chance for Vince, just needs it out of bounds. He was outnumbered. That's a terrific result for Adelaide. Gillam needed to mark it, he didn't. So boundary throw in just inside the 50. Hawthorn fans watching a replay on the giant screen thought there was interference in the marking contest. Here's Birchall, lost the footy. Opportunity for Bateman. Bateman in trouble. He's left a lot to chance. Off a boot there of Thompson, and I think that was a... Whose boot did that come off, Bruce?
Sean Makers.
Okay.
Well, if the Hawthorn fans were booing before, then they should be cheering now, because there was two holding the balls that weren't paid, and it was justice that Adelaide got this shot.
So Henschel.
Had the practice shot before. See if he can do it second time.
Same spot exactly. What's he learned? He missed everything last time to the opposite pocket. He gives away the goals this time. Good players learn quickly. What a terrific kick. Welcome back to the big time.
I think he did learn. It was exactly the same angle, and he knew that he actually has got a slight right to left draw on his natural kicking action, so he just put it 5 metres further right. Came round beautifully.
Two great tackling efforts there by Andrew McLeod, and he could have been rewarded with either of them, but ultimately his team was a little bit unfortunate there for Sean Makers. But Henschel, as you said, Dan, went back, learnt from his first shot at goal.
First goal of the MCG for 3 years for Trent Henschel. Round 2006, the next week he had the big injury, so it's been a long, long way back, hasn't it? That's going to help him.
20 minutes into the second quarter, and Hawthorn have only gone inside 53 times in that 20 minutes. Gosh.
Actually, Buddy's going to get a cold, isn't he? He just hasn't seen any of the ball. Lewis up and down, Vince chasing hard, and Adelaide completely on top. Not on the scoreboard, but in play now. Knights to Riley. Well done, Hodge on Thompson. Played it well. Then uses Lewis. He wants it back. Back to Birchall. Saul under pressure and gone.
Ryan, no prior. Andrew, don't bump him over.
Gee, what I reckon McLeod's tackling, he wasn't involved in McLeod's tackling in this first half. The best I've ever seen him do, I reckon. It's been fantastic. Tip it over the top. Rioli held on to, no free kick, unlucky. Riley trying to charge through. Saul brought down. Sloan again getting a hard ball. Thompson, well, poor kick.
Strong body, Sloan, isn't he? He puts his head over it. He does body lines it, and a couple of nice handballs to put teammates into space under pressure.
So Hodge out of the back pocket to Mitchell. The old heads combine. Need something now. Short one. Kennedy. Still in the back pocket, really. Goes towards half back. Vince almost able to knock it away, but the mark is taken by Campbell. Flirting with danger there. Campbell, short of centre half back. It's all dried up for Hawthorn. Looks to the outer side. Osborne's the target. Set him a task as well. Lurking behind it's Riley. Slips it away. McLeod. McLeod lines up. Hits the post. But wonderful pressure, just forcing the error.
It's been good, McLeod.
That was skillful by McLeod. I mean, he took it in one grab, didn't actually put it down like a normal drop punt, was able to get the ball to boot pretty well. Pretty stiff not to finish off.
Suddenly the Hawks, you think, probably want the half-time siren to sound. Birchall wants Taylor. John Cock at the back. And now Vince had a big second quarter. Down low, Marriage got a bad bounce. And Taylor went straight at Knights. Birchall, this is better, this is promising. Bateman to Lewis. Franklin, they put him into a jam, but he was good enough, and then Osborne caught. Over shoulder. So the high tackle against Stevens. Dangerous game the Hawks played through there, as they did against the Saints last week. And now Mitchell loading up. Franklin quickly getting back. Almost. And then John Cock to Sloan.
They've got the numbers back there. Symes ran into a dead end though. Strong tackle, Rioli. Rioli wins the free. Marriage sent him into trouble. Rioli 60 metres out. McLeod takes the mark. On the move on the forward line. Taking the mark is Kennedy.
Chance Bateman back onto the field, and when he gets the ball in his hands, Hawthorn look dangerous through the middle of the ground. And this bloke, when the ball's in the forward half, he's the one that does all the damage for them, Cyril Rioli. Nice tackle, turnover, and then a great kick to a leader, Kennedy.
That's how it started. He set the standard, Cyril Rioli. Now Kennedy sprays it wide right. Marriage has played a pretty handy game. Takes the mark. Around the boundary, Stevens. Otten. Goodwin falling to the ground. Van Berlo sold into trouble. A cool head. Edwards. Van Berlo on the defensive 50. Now they're away. Comes across the ground. John Cock who's got it. Tippett is on. Coming back hard is Hodge. Hodge has been penalised. Tippett's got the football 55 metres out. Free in the pocket. Thompson.
Robbie.
Perhaps Henschel should go across and just have a word in his ear.
That's it there. That's it.
He's in the self-same spot, only a little closer to goal. That was a mark. They just got free down our broadcast side. Hodge pleading his case, but Thompson, meantime, has put it through. They've come to terms with this forward pocket. Don't worry about that.
Bucks, you talked about Thompson earlier not being a goal kicker this year. Well, they've got a couple of beauties out of him tonight, haven't they?
Yeah, and he has spent a lot more time in the forward 50, and we know that he finds space very well. He's very strong overhead. He's a strong body, can win the ball on the ground and in the air. Very good on the lead. This quick movement from defence for the Crows is what created this chance, because Tippett was on his own. They got through the Hawthorn midfield zone and then found Thompson for a lovely goal.
Well, he started all this just before quarter time, Thompson, didn't he?
But wasn't that contest win on halfback when there was a lot of contesting on Hawthorn's half-forward line, Crows' half-back line? Once they got it free, then they had the space and numbers.
Well, Van Berlo's half volley was fantastic there. Here's McLeod. causing so much damage to Symes, and then Symes going for goal. Going to be close. Touched on the way through. You've got to sort of pinch yourself here tonight, don't you? I mean, it was 5 goals to nothing.
Yep.
It wasn't as if Hawthorn was sparkling, though. It was just that Adelaide was so poor.
Yep.
No, Hawthorn looked up. I mean, Adelaide
Certainly
were down,
very
but Hawthorn
early,
looked up, and they had contested the way to contested possession. It's totally gone the other way.
Is it going to go through? No.
And in the first quarter, it looked like the ball couldn't bounce Adelaide's way. And it's nearly going exactly the opposite now. I mean, Hawthorn look equally as bad as Adelaide did.
50. Sam, your kick.
That's a... Well,
Go down, go down.
it's one of the silliest decisions I've ever seen, I reckon.
Hold it, Sam.
Well,
Okay, Mark's here.
No, it was a kick there from full back, so you can't.
Wasn't
be
was it a
trying to
point?
block
Was
it. It was a
Okay.
point. Yep.
he was always in an illegal position, wasn't he?
Yeah, needed time to get back to the
That's
mark.
right. Kennedy, Brown, chips it across the 50, and this is Bateman. So important to them. He's back out there, and he's running again. Just sets it up. Goes towards Morton. Hands to it. Spilt the mark. He's over the football. And they're quite content just to tie it up. Looks like it may be Muston who gets up from that. Morton standing alongside him. So this bounce about 25 metres out from Hawthorn's attacking goal, a spot they've rarely been in this second term. Renoff backhands it down. Thompson went to ground. Kennedy did well. Morton in trouble, claimed by Stevens. And a bounce on the 50.
Damien Hardwick has been so much in the news, hasn't he, with the Richmond and North Melbourne jobs up for grabs. Premiership player at Essendon and Port Adelaide. Assistant coach to Alistair Clarkson.
No, Pryor. Well done. Max now.
So he's been around a few premierships
Time again, guys.
over the years. He's sort of taken your place in a way, Bucks, hasn't he, over the last few weeks? So a 10-point margin.
In the commentary box.
On the ball. Arms free. Arms free.
And those clearances haven't they evened up? It's about 14-13 now. It was Hawthorn were 10-11 to 4 at quarter time, so the Crows have just started to win the footy.
5 metres. Shane. Boom. Directly on the mark, Brad.
So Renoff.
No closer. Ben. Lambs and Ben. 20 yards, Brad.
He said not a big goal kick. He got his first last week. He's given that a hoik and a hook and a behind. Couple of points tonight.
So 9 points the difference approaching half-time. What a transformation. It's 5 goals to 0, as Bruce said. Late goal, which was pretty important looking back, just before quarter time for Adelaide. And maybe that's when they were able to shrug off the shackles. Coming through, Kennedy to Brown, who simply stopped, tuck. Some famous sons and relatives right there. And the ball is put across the boundary line on the full by Tuck. Resultant free kick taken in the pocket by Doughty. Play on's the call. Vince in the goal square, comes back to Doughty. It was 15. So Doughty with the clock running down to 1:15 now. Riley offers a short one. He's ignored that. He'll go for distance along the wing. Seller in front, worked out of it by Renoff, growing in stature. Certainly was a quick release. McGlynn not expecting it, sells Mitchell into terrible trouble. 2 veterans clash. Edwards took him to ground, holding the ball.
Make an attempt. Make an attempt.
Edwards looks for Thompson. Brown is coming back. Thompson did well. Is it right half forward? Can they get another late goal right here?
Looking everywhere to set it up back to Edwards. He wants to get off the mark quickly. Prepared to switch again to John Cock. Trying to create. Seller running. Gone. Good effort by Franklin.
We've seen a lot of occasions tonight, both sides really, where the player who's received the handball has been nailed by the tackle. It's been I think just at that point, Salah's speed and Franklin's speed, no contest.
Lee, this is a great result, though. Bringing Franklin back, that suits the Crows, because he was dashing down to the forward line to get involved in the next passage of play. Franklin at halfback's about where you want him with 20 seconds to go. McGlynn through the centre, off Riley to Osborne. Tuck. Brother Muston getting through. Stevens can't quite stop it. And the siren beats a good grab, but after the siren. Morton with sticky fingers, but a bit too late. Well,
I'd want a better reward for that grab too. He has got his hands to a few, but they haven't stuck. But Hawthorn were as woeful in that second quarter as Adelaide were in the first, and who knows what we're going to get in the second half.
Well, Adelaide are good at keeping teams goalless in quarters this year. They've done it on 10 occasions now. At half-time, they lead by 9 on Friday night footy, 44-35.
Just looked at that 6 Hawthorn forwards as Tim was talking there. And there was, of course, Franklin and Rioli, but, you know, Brown was there and young Kennedy was there, but there wasn't much goal kicking in the, apart from Franklin and Rioli. They're going to be incredibly important if Hawthorn are to have any chance of getting back on top.
He's a marvellous orator, Tim. He stirred me up. I'm cycling back to Perth on Sunday night, and I'm giving you a dinky, Bruce. I'll drop you off in Adelaide.
You'll be back in 1A. You won't ride.
Start of the third term. Both ruckmen missed it completely. Van Berlo had it momentarily. McGlynn starts off as he did. Finished that first half in the thick of things. Vince hand passes forward.
Why didn't he go in?
Don't know. Thompson bounces the ball across towards Marriage. Sewell, Lewis, now Osborne. Now they've got a chance to break as Morton releases Bateman. Bateman goes inside the forward 50, and Franklin, virtually unsighted in the first half, got a break on Rutten.
Well, he would have been virtually unsighted to Chance Bateman when that ball made contact with his foot, because Franklin was in behind Rutten. You might get a look at it here, but he actually just put it straight out in front. Rutten had front position at that stage, but Franklin was going to make his way forward, and it was just a beautifully weighted kick.
58 goals for the season. His first disposal inside the forward 50 tonight is a good one. That may kick-start the Hawks. They trail by 3 points.
And I guess there was just a strange situation before this bit of play, whether it was Vince, I think it was, who just decided to go backwards instead of going into the forward 50, and that created the turnover. But that's where Franklin needs to get the footy, within scoring distance of goal. The 5 or 6 kicks in there where you have 5 or 6 shots at goal. Been doing some good work up the field, some good defensive pressure work, but as a target forward, that's where he has to get it.
Broken the drought a bit, but he didn't get a goal last week, didn't get a goal for the first 2 quarters this week. That's a rarity. So back to 3 points. And that's just what Hawthorn needed, and maybe the match needed. An early Franklin goal in the second half. Oh, big fly coming from Douglas. Porplesia couldn't get free. Well done, Birchall. And then Gillum, Schoenmakers, very short to McGlynn. So the Hawks look up again. It's very early in the second half, I know, but Saul, Douglas and Birchall. Knights did very, very well. Porplesia's handball had a lot on it. Vince stops and waits. Gets it to Shirley. Not a no to goal kicker, but that is going to miss. It's a ride by Douglas. Well, Adelaide have missed a couple of easy ones tonight, thinking of Symes in that second quarter, and then Shirley.
Tippett almost touched it. Schoenmakers. Well, that's a terrible kick from McGlynn. It comes out towards the boundary. Again, he looks a tad tired. He's run his heart out, but some of his disposals haven't been pristine. We've got a boundary throw in at the interchange gates. 4 points the difference. So much riding on this game, but neither side really able to find their best form. Marriage knocks it down, follows up. He's been a willing competitor tonight. Dug out of there by Taylor. Hand pass came across from Muston. Bateman involved earlier, but chopped off here by Henschel. Henschel goes inside the forward 50. Porpleisha's been very quiet, knocked away from him that time by Gillam. Getting boots a ball in the nick of time was Mitchell. Sends it still inside the 50 though, picked up by Downey, and Downey, exquisite skill, puts it through for a goal.
Hawthorn just keep coughing it up through the corridor. They've obviously got a real intent to run and carry through there and to try and I suppose run through the Adelaide pressure, but since quarter time or just before quarter time, Adelaide have been able to hold up really well there. That handball by Saul was no good at all, and the Adelaide pressure was very good here on Mitchell. They were able to turn the ball over inside their own forward 50, and then a great finish there by Doughty.
They were able to turn the ball over. Now the message from Neil Craig at half-time, I followed him up the race, was win the contested footy. That's where they got back on top in the second quarter, and pressure, 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 and we just saw an example of that.
They're winning the inside 50s tonight, the Crows, as they did, by the way, against Collingwood last week in that losing effort, but back to a 10-point game. Lewis, so good in the opening term. Well done to Taylor. Taylor looks up, goes long to Franklin. Rutten worked to the front. Buddy had a fair bit of it. Little kick by Kennedy, rolling, and a behind.
Interesting there that Lance Franklin actually gave front position to Rutten. He had it there at in the early part of that contest, and I reckon you're not always going to take the mark there, but you're more likely to get the free kick. But he rolled out and gave Rutten the front posse in that contest.
So Goodwin doing a fair bit of the kicking in tonight. Good kick to Stevens and a very good mark.
Right on it,
And Stevens' kick, neat. Vince.
Here's Rutten to Knights, sold into trouble. Knights on the ground is holding the footy.
Never got a handball away, go through. Marks here.
Cyril Rioli's got the free kick.
That's a smart pressure. He couldn't actually tackle the body because the body had gone to ground, but watch him grab Knights' right arm here, just prevent him from getting the handball away. Geez, that's just clever defence.
So Rioli to pull the margin back to just 3 points. Hits the post. Just never came back, so 8 points the difference.
A couple of posters for Rioli tonight.
His forward pressure's been terrific.
Fine.
Injured early in the season, and I think we underestimated his importance to this team. Stevens on the ground to Thompson, to Rutten around the outer side wing to Riley. Riley loops it over the top. Shirley, John Cock. He ran into a Hawthorn wall on the outer side. Advantage is paid. They come away once more as the ball comes to midfield, but Symes takes the mark uncontested. Well, that wall didn't use the ball as they should have when they got the turnover. Porpleisha inside the forward 50. Tip at the target, hands to it. Douglas a little tentative there, didn't hit the pack too hard. The man who initiated the hand passing, Kennedy, goes wide. Mitchell has it. There's a man on towards the outer side wing. He bounces the ball to McGlynn. McGlynn's kick untidy. Lewis, Franklin, Marich bearing down. Franklin shakes free, pulls it back. Intended for Morton. Inside the 50, plays on immediately. 40 metres out, kicks and misses.
Well, they've got the same kick-in drill, the first two. See if they can do a third one. Rutten blocks. Stevens marks unopposed out towards the boundary line. Let's see if they can make it a third time.
So Hawthorn, one of their better attacking moves just then. Franklin getting involved and Morton just missing. Well,
Yep, 3 out of 3.
Vice versa.
Yours.
So Rutten to Riley.
Thank you, Ben.
Just for the minute, Adelaide having a little bit of trouble getting it past centre wing, as they did in the first term and Hawthorn did in the second. Riley to Edwards, so not much gained there.
Move it on, Tyson. Play on.
So Edwards conceding, back to Symes. He's trying to set one up now. Goodwin will get it. Always a bit dangerous when you kick a slow ball and Rioli's in the picture, isn't it? Thompson. Now Shirley. And John Cock on here, if he can find him. It's a good kick. John Cock made it. Well, that was interesting. Now Symes has to get down low, and he does. McLeod, Shirley, off one step. Porplesia underneath Gillam. Oh, well done, Porplesia. Stuck his bottom out. Tippett took a long, long time to get foot to ball. Henschel, Douglas. Oh, it's a goal. It's a beauty.
Well, that was a fantastic bit of play by Douglas, because it looked like it was a goal gone begging when the handball reached the ground, but he had the awareness to basically roll as he was being tackled.
Good play.
Good play. Good play.
Clever.
Oh,
Hasn't done a lot tonight, but that's enough. That'll do. Go home.
Who says they don't want to be role models? Who's a clever dick there? Richard Douglas, right on the goal line, takes a tumble, but not before he kicks a goal. Terrific stuff.
Even got the right first name for that, hasn't he?
He has. Hand pass comes across towards Sewell alongside the centre circles, then down towards half forward. In front, Rioli falls behind Franklin, right on the 50. Bacon, goal square, doesn't matter. Clears the fence with the kick. How's that for a reply?
That's his favourite angle, I reckon. That one where he can curl inside on the flank and left foot in. Here we'll have a look at the just a driven ball in to the forward 50. But yeah, as soon as he actually has gone over left foot in across the body, he has better control on that kick than almost the set shots.
Suddenly you feel like the game's lifted a bit, don't you? So 60 goals for the year now for Buddy. 298 career goals. Playing his 101st game. And Hawthorn getting the scoreboard ticking over, as are Adelaide now. Douglas has had a very ordinary night, I reckon, until a moment ago. And he was special with that goal.
Thanks, guys. Take it away, take it away. Straight back.
Seller and Renouf both trying to get to the right spot. McGlynn, well done. Lewis, and then Saul. Edwards trying to put the tackle on. Tuck getting it from Mitchell. Gee, Dowdy was quick off the mark. Rioli, was a poor kick coming in, and Rioli was probably expecting a bit more depth on it. McLeod. Lee talked about his importance in the opening half to Edwards. And then Edwards inside. Goodwin to Van Berlo to Vince. Sloan, oh, well done, young fella, to Riley. And then Riley off one step. Henschel and Porplesia. Henschel kicks another one. He's going all right, Henschel.
Well, we often wonder when players just don't want to kick the ball in deep into that full forward line position, but if you do actually are able, this was a great read then by Riley. He actually took the front position.
Dowdy,
Dowdy, I should say. But then it was the ability just to be prepared to drive the ball in when there's a contest in and around the goal square. Well, the offensive side get the ball, it's almost a certain goal, and that's basically what happened then. Sometimes players just aren't prepared to go in.
Trent Hetchell's got 2 goals. And Adelaide for the night, from memory, have got 3 out of the goal square, including that spectacular goal a few minutes ago from Douglas. And the margin is suddenly out to 13 points, so Hawthorn need the next one. And that centre circle, the outside circle, is the recycling logo in green round. Sewell, tuck down towards half forward, knocked away by Goodwin. Strong tackle on Dowdy by Osborne. Bent him over backwards, and the umpire will do it again.
Adelaide really putting their head over the ball since quarter time. The contested football and numbers have changed dramatically since that point of the game.
Terrible feeling when you're in that situation. Doughty found himself with a man coming back, and there's not much given those knees. Another bounce. I mentioned green round. 28 players called green have played VFL or AFL footy. Henschel's goal moments ago. After the bounce, Lewis has got it at close quarters. McGlynn, Kennedy inside the forward 50. Buddy, well, was thinking about his third. It was almost in the bag. There's an Adelaide player down behind play. Rutten meantime goes to Doughty, and the ball is out of bounds. In fact, it was Otten who was down. He's on his knees. Tough hombre. He's been a good player this season too for them. That's a heavy fall right on the small of his back. Tossed in, reaching over the top. Renouf spinning in and out of trouble. Doughty. Just going back to that number of Greens who have played VFL and AFL footy. Gordon S. Green and Peter Green, two players who play just one each at the bottom of the totem pole. At the top, Russell Green, 304 games. A wonderful Green. Opportunity to Symes. Vince deep in the pocket. John Cott close to the boundary line, taken across. Interesting that Russell Green, 120 games for St Kilda, 184 for Hawthorn, so he was actually recycled in 1980. A man ahead of the curve.
With an E on the end, Deno. Here's Vince.
Lance Franklin's intensity's up, isn't it? He's inside 50 and doing a lot of his work in there. He's kicked a couple of goals, been in a few contests, and now he's putting the pressure on as well, trying to lift the Hawks on his own.
Well, he's hurt the Crows in the past, hasn't he? Famously at Docklands in the elimination final. That 6 months of a Franklin nightmare, the Crows.
Yeah. Well, he's playing in the area where he has to get the ball tonight for Hawthorn, deep in the forward line. He's got his couple in the third quarter. He probably needs 4 or 5 at least.
So Seller, Lewis at the top. Van Berlo did very, very well. Edwards couldn't quite get it away from Saul. Then the contested footy, Hodge in hard. With the Crows matching the Hawks.
Let him go, let him go. Dived on the footy. Let it go, Luke Hodge.
Gee, hasn't Doughty been good in this term? Now McLeod. Little dinky one out wide to John Cott. Doughty's physical presence has been terrific for the Crows. Lovely kick to Edwards. Now McLeod, and then McLeod, terrific stuff to Douglas, and suddenly it opens up. Tippett's the first move, and he's going to go to Tippett, I think. Porplesia waits. Little gives very, very good. Symes gives it everything he's got, and Henschel. Well, this is turning into a big night for Henschel.
Yeah, he looks on his toes for the. I mean, obviously he's had a comeback. He's gone and put some time into the SANFL, but the Crows' intensity's up and the Hawthorn's intensity's up. You can see the matches up for grabs in this period of the game, but Henschel's on his toes and been very dangerous.
Well, it was a surprise inclusion in a way, Henschel. Coming almost out of the blue. Can he kick a third? He does. He's kicked 3. And Adelaide are away.
Considering Taylor Walker's performance last week, and he really did struggle after a month out, coming straight in and then not being able to have an impact as a young player. Henschel's inclusion tonight has been huge to kick 3 goals, and he's been a dangerous target up forward. He has the experience. He just thinks his way through the through the play, doesn't he? And he's very, very skillful. Been able to kick 3 goals and learn from that one in the first quarter, the second quarter.
Hawks zone was really effective last year. They were one of the hardest sides to score against, but what was proven last year was if you could get the ball into the forward line, if you could break that zone, you could score, and that's what we're seeing right now at the moment with Adelaide getting the ball into that forward line and creating scoring opportunities.
Porplesia, what a terrific vertical jump it was to win that football too in the pocket. Edwards straight to Tuck, and then he's on to Tuck in a flash, so we'll have a ball up. As I mentioned earlier, 3 goals from the goal square says that on occasions they've been able to get in behind that zone. So Hawthorn now with a real task. They trail by 19 points and the season very much on the line. Sewell slips it away. Muston runs forward of centre, kicks inside the forward 50. Rutten knocked it down in front with discipline. Rioli did well, but into the path of John Cock. And he's away. John Cock to Vince. Look out. Delayed it well. McLeod inside the forward 50. Poplecia.
It's the kick, isn't it? Nice lead and jump by Poplecia, but just a perfect kick by McLeod. 13 kicks, 3 handballs. His 13 kicks have just been invaluable for the Crows.
Poplecia well held tonight, coming up for only his 7th possession. But this could be a knee buckler if he puts this through. 19. 25 seems a big ask with only 50 on the board. Poplecia, we're right behind him. Kick is on its way. It's working back. It's good. Adelaide rolling now at the MCG on Friday night footy.
It is big, especially when you've only kicked 2 goals to your opponent's 11. You know, since basically the 29-minute mark of the first quarter. Hawthorn began the game brilliantly. 5 goals to zip there at one stage, but Adelaide have re-established control of the match, or established control of the match with their attack on the ball, and players like McLeod coming in, using his foot skills, going inside 50 makes a big difference.
Paul Plesia's had 40 set shots this year for 31 goals.
He's a great finisher.
Had a couple tonight that he hasn't quite hit that well, but he's kicked goals.
He jumps early on the lead too. I see Gary Ablett Senior used to do that a lot. 25-point
margin. That's what we had at quarter time, but it was the other way.
Yeah.
So it's been a 50-point turnaround here.
So that's bred from congestion. Or now when the ball gets into space, it seems to be the Adelaide Crows who are able to run into space with the footy. Hawthorn have been beaten on the spread pretty badly.
McLeod and Edwards both turned 33 this month. McLeod's playing like a 23-year-old, isn't he? Having a terrific night. Tippett just overran it. Taken by Mitchell, playing so much of his footy in the back half as he has this year. Then Saul, that was a good kick in the end because he had to clear a couple of Crows. Got to Gillam. Well, Gillam puts the man under pressure. It's a poor handball. Vince and Adelaide can set up. Poplecia to Symes on the left foot. Going to the pocket. Knight sits and waits. Well done, Campbell. And gets it over the line. He had to because Adelaide were lurking dangerously there.
And that's the man who's taken away from congestion better than anyone tonight.
So boundary throw in. One down by Tippett. Taken by Thompson. High ball. They'll compete about 20 metres out. Tippett. Big fly. Henshaw at his 4th. What a fairy tale comeback.
3 goals in this 3rd quarter. I think he kicked one earlier than that, didn't he? But
yep.
Just been very important. Just that second effort stuff in the forward line. But all of a sudden, just the Crows forward group, comparative to the Hawth defenders, they're reading the ball better. And one of that Henshaw ground level mark, that last goal was just that he read the kick better off the boot. And the Hawthorn defence is under siege and struggling.
So Campbell looks like he's hurt his hand by the look of it, or wrist. So nothing happening right. It's his finger in the end. Nothing happening right for the Hawks. And this is a remarkable story. Henshaw at the moment. The Crows.
Push! Simon Taylor's free kick. Ivan, you've got to go with the blood rule. Don't kick it! Don't kick it! Don't kick it! Or kick it. Blood rule. Thank you, mate.
So Marriage.
Just go off, mate, with the blood rule.
So Marriage off the ground.
Robbie, Adelaide.
He's been very handy tonight.
Yeah,
we're watching it.
He's been really lively at ground level too, hasn't he? His
Yeah.
2nd and 3rd efforts, he's actually, I think, been the most effective ruckman on the ground. He's had a bit of the footy as well. 12 possessions.
So he gave the free kick after that away. So we'll restart.
Thank you, mate.
So Taylor, now will he use Mitchell? He does. Mitchell going very wide. Birchall the target. Well done, Knights. Very well done then along the line. Birchall getting back. Knights did pretty well there not to give a free kick away, and then a good tackle from Symes. He's been more than handy, Symes.
That's probably an example of Hawthorn not going forward. The ball was in the centre circle. Look where it's ended up, out in the wing.
So Taylor and Seller. Now Kennedy, Birchall, Mitchell, back to Hodge.
Hodge under pressure, gets boot to ball. Well done by Porplesia, coming back on his man there to force it to the ground, and this is the result. Look at that. Certainly Hawthorn working hard in there as well to match Adelaide, but
Thank you, Benny.
certainly Adelaide have been the side in this term that have taken control. Now we're told he did dislocate tall man, and he's off the ground. It's been put back in place. I don't know about Melbourne, but in Perth you can't drive without that finger. We've got a bounce alongside the centre circle.
No prior ball pin. Didn't have an arm free.
Umpire Chamberlain in, but Adelaide have got all the answers at the moment. They're up by 31 points after they trailed by 25 at quarter time. They are a side that keep on coming. It's so commendable. Bursting out of the middle, Kennedy goes down towards half forward. Stevens read it well off the boot, stormed up, took the mark, comes out wide. Seller, runners to choose from, put Douglas under pressure, feeds it forward. Vince, so much of the football in the mid-20s now. Over the top from Riley, all the time in the world. Goodwin kicks inside the forward 50. Thompson almost hands to it, lurking in front. Knights floats it towards the pocket, out of bounds.
Interested to see what happens for the rest of this quarter, given that Adelaide have re-established that loose man behind play. We saw them try to do it in the first quarter, but they just weren't getting their hands on the ball through the clearances and contested possessions. But here we can see Campbell trying to get that finger back in, but he's gone into the rooms to do so.
So Tippett.
No, he didn't. He didn't. The back ruckman tapped it down. He just rode the tap line.
You talked about that earlier tonight, Lee, with Tippett taking the ball out of the air from a boundary frame, but he tapped it down, as the umpire said. So Adelaide with 12 of the last 14 goals in this match after Hawthorn kicked the first 5.
Still got hold of him, Luke Hodge. Never had the ball. He didn't have the ball, though. You can't tackle without the ball.
So Hodge squaring it up. How can Hawthorn ignite something here?
Right there.
Sean Makers gets it from Gillum. Back to Hodge.
On there, Kurt.
The irony, I guess, is that the Crows were the last premier to miss the 8 the next year. In fact, Hawthorn are in exactly the same spot Adelaide were in. Same number of wins, same ladder position as Adelaide were in 1999. After winning the flag in 98, and of course in Adelaide's case in 97 as well. But it's a big fall, isn't it?
Play on. 9.
And unless something happens in the next half an hour, we might not be seeing this team at the MCG in September.
You're right, Bruce. In fact, I'm sure you are. Stevens takes the mark, goes across the ground. Otten needs to go here. Off hands, Rioli, danger man as far as the Crows are concerned. Schoenmakers, the short one. Mark is taken by Kennedy. Into mine, spotted the vacant square. How will it bounce? Well, on its point, set up straight for Stevens. They can't catch a break at the moment. Goodwin, not 15. Back to Rutten. Draws McGlynn. Goes to Symes. Edwards, he's at left half back, not 15. Well, Douglas would have been better to spill the mark. Now he's really got a problem. The call was good from the umpire, in as much as he said it wasn't 15 before the ball arrived. Not sure that was the ball to catch then. How would you have played it, Bucks?
Forgotten.
I think when the umpire calls it like a short kick and not a mark, you can hang on to it. I think they'll always give you the extra bit of leniency in that play.
Gee, he gives you more than he gives me, Dennis. Birchall, Symes.
He is antsy tonight, isn't he?
Right.
So Adelaide completely on top at the moment. And Hawthorn almost like a toothless tiger. They just don't know where they can hurt the Crows. If McGlynn going forward, Franklin, well, there's your answer. Maybe.
Good mark. It's the toothless tiger, Bruce.
That's it. Buddies
But we talk about teams, so it's the Hawthorn jumper, but there's only 13 players from last year's premiership side, and that said a little bit about, you know, it's the same clubs, the same team, same coaching staff, but they're just as different personnel out there for much of the year, so they've been nowhere near, consequently, last year's level.
So Franklin trying to match Henschel here with a third goal in the third term. Looking good. So Buddy keeps them alive with a third one.
You spoke about scoring avenues, and the Crows have been able to find quite a few, and a couple from unlikely sources, with Henschel being so dominant in this third quarter. But you know, the only goals that Hawthorn have kicked since late in that first quarter have come off this bloke's left boot.
Yeah.
And no one else is there and looks likely, really, do they? Cyril Rioli's dangerous at times, but 4 other forwards not even looking like it.
They're rather blasé about it, but he's got 61 goals this season after 20 rounds last season, and this is the problem. He was the man who placed the bar. He had 94 goals. Play back in the middle, 56-81, and certainly it hasn't been through lack of effort from Franklin on the forward line that they've fallen behind. Sloane's made an impressive debut.
We hadn't had a kick. He's had 6 handballs and 7 tackles, and every time he's touched it, it looks like something's going to happen.
I reckon we've called every one of them too. There's a message there for first gamers. Bring hair like that and you'll get a mention. Trying to crash his way through is Riley, at least from me.
Maybe the hair, but the 7 tackles will get you a game next week.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that work ethic is what you look for in young players. Yeah, get the ball, but if they're prepared to get in and contest and chase and tackle and pressure, it always...
In 34 minutes, just over a quarter.
What about the face on the young man? Looks like he just came from the creche. Down goes Kennedy, knocked out of there by Sloane.
All over the top of him.
Leg scissors there from McLeod. Free kick is going to Sewell at the base of the pack. So Sewell will kick from the centre of the MCG. In fact, he decides to let Brown run it up. Tuck, Hodge.
And then Hodge goes to half forward. Good leap there from McGlynn. It's a long kick, McGlynn. Now where's Franklin? Going to Osborne. Good hard attack. Rioli, brilliant roving. Brilliant kick across. Well, I thought Buddy might be getting onto it, but across the face in the end. Not sure if he went for goal or went for the pass at the top of the square.
Great front and centre.
Suddenly Hawthorn with a little bit of a burst here. Still a long way back. Lewis, though. Well, he really should have goaled there. Wow. Perfectly positioned for the little hook, wasn't it? And he got the angle wrong. So Adelaide still by 4 goals. And still seemingly having this match under control. Though it's been a strange scoring game. So here's a change. Doughty to himself, and then still going to that same side. Rutten and Stevens. Rutten got his fingers on it and then came off Renouf. Rutten, good tackle, Renouf.
Hawthorn read that better. They that little partnership out there between Stevens and Rutten has got the kick-offs the first couple, but the Hawthorn got the extra number or 2 over there to not make it allow it to work that time.
24 points the difference. Hawthorn sensing the emergency now. McGlynn feeds it across towards Kennedy. Kennedy to the hand pass to Savage. Savage runs inside the forward 50, and the first gamer has kicked it behind. That would have been memorable. Get the margin back to 18 points. And it seemed for a moment or two that Hawthorn had gone quietly into the night, but they found something in the last 5 minutes. Kennedy has been one of the pivotal players. Savage doesn't miss by much. Meanwhile, taking a risk, Adelaide to the pocket. 2-on-1 though. Stevens drives it up towards the wing. Big leap from Tippett at the back. Beautifully roved by Mitchell. Mitchell across to Sewell. The names combining now. Birchall runs from half back. Goes to half forward. Kennedy once again. 55 metres out. Where's Buddy? Nowhere to be seen. Well, missed again by Morton. The second time tonight on the lead. Hand pass from McGlynn back to Morton. Tries for the impossible goal. Still in play. Doughty heads for the boundary line. Rioli trying to knock it back to the middle. And Doughty prevails, which was good news for Adelaide.
It's been the jewel of the night, I reckon, those two.
Doughty's been pretty hard to get away from all year and finds a lot of the ball himself.
So Otten going backwards from Van Berlo, and then Dowdy and Goodwin, and then Johncock. So Adelaide defending on the back foot at the moment. Dowdy from Johncock. Douglas, well, he took the man on. He's gone, I reckon. Apparently not.
Haven't the Hawks found something, Bruce?
Yep. Actually, a goal here would make things very interesting. Adelaide suddenly paddling a bit. Franklin over the top.
Wide ball. Still got in turn range? Yes, mate. Thank you.
You just get the feeling for the first time this season, there's always been another day, every other day. But tonight they realise they're face to face with their demise. And they've lifted. As you expect, the top side too. Riley in trouble. Knights create some space for Edwards. The short one comes across to Goodwin. Not surprisingly, the big names in both sides now are starting to find the football. Here's Shirley, got it from Knights. Shirley on the wing, looks down towards half forward. McLeod has run to space. Oh, that was clever. Just checked off the ball. Flicks it to Thompson. Thompson goes to the pocket, and the mark is taken by Riley, who says,
there's one in the goal square.
Back to kick a goal. Tippett, meantime, by himself in the goal square league.
He took the responsibility, but turning it back to goal was never a good... you can walk back slowly and kick the goal, but Tippett was on his own in the goal square, so he has taken the responsibility on his shoulders of Riley, so he better make it.
Well, he has wonderful skills, Riley. That's the kiss of death. Here he comes.
Well done, Dan.
I should be able to earn from that gift. It's three-quarter time. Adelaide, though, a good term. 12-9-81. Hawthorn 8-10-58. Credit to the Hawks. They came back in the last 5 minutes, but Adelaide still in a commanding position. This is Friday Night Football.
Tim.
Well, Neil, Craig spoke about their shallow entries last weekend. Adelaide Crows against Collingwood. He wants the players to carry the ball. This is what they did during that third quarter, which is exactly what he wants them to do, to carry the ball right up the wing into the half-forward flank area and then to deliver it into the forward line. Paul Pleasure on the end of that, so he'd be extremely happy. The other thing is, without Roughhead, Buddy's getting a lot of treatment, double team, Stevens and Rutten going to him, so it's going to be a superhuman effort from him.
Marriage out of the middle, kicks inside the forward 50, and it's going to be a free kick to Hawthorn. It'll be taken by Hodge, I think, or Gillam. Gillam's got it. Birchall reaching back. Muston takes the mark, barely the 15, comes across the ground. McGlynn, a personal best tonight, 30 possessions for Ben McGlynn. Not all of them have been that functional. That was a good one. Off hands as Bateman centred the ball. Muston couldn't complete the mark. Tippett gave it across to Thompson. Johncock then. Goodwin under pressure. They've got the numbers around the football, Adelaide. Dowdy heads for the boundary line. Poor Pleasure on the assist. Keeping it in, Birchall. Well played. Back to Muston. Man on across the ground. Well, he kicked into a teammate. Dick Cheney. Opportunity now for Schoenmakers, taken down. Muston, hand passes back. They're under pressure again. Gillam, a second chance. He got it back from McGlynn, goes to midfield. Sewell, they need a kick. Kick it. Mitchell over the top. Bateman does exactly that, goes down to right half forward, but they made that man free by handling the ball as much as they did. Now a mark is taken by Brown. Crowd 150. Campbell Brown's got it.
Just around half back there. See, we've spoke about Hawthorn over-possessing last week, and at times tonight they gave Adelaide a fair few opportunities to turn that ball over, but things haven't been going well for them, as you can see from that kick into the back of Chance Bateman, but they were able to get this shot and goal.
Huge kick then for Brown. He won't score from behind Osborne. Plenty of tall timber down there for Adelaide. Doughty just heads for the boundary line. He's getting a free kick.
In the back. 5 metres. 5 metres. With me, Vic. With me, Vic. Thank you, mate.
So Doughty in a terrific duel with Rioli. Certainly that push was well out of bounds, but the umpire decided to count it. Doughty goes along the line. It's all Hawthorn here. Marriage outnumbered by 3-1. Almost fought the draw. Birchall showed courage, kept it in front. Works a little 1-2 with Morton. A centering kick. Brown will fly from behind. Well, it'll be paid in front, I think, to Otten. I think you'd expect the reaction that came from the Hawthorn supporters. But I think that was the right call.
Ottens and Stevens have done a really good job of just blocking that Hawthorn forward 50 as the game's gone on. Mark strongly in there.
So Rutten's a good one after McLeod got it to Rutten, and then Knights out wide. Here is Stevens, who's come up to centre wing and then lopes along. Well way to kick to Paul Pleasure. Read it well.
Back to the 50, Stephen, the 50.
Goes down the line to Douglas. So Tippett's at centre half forward, calling for Douglas to kick it to the top of the square.
Thank you.
And to give him a run at it. Kicked a magnificent goal, a remarkable goal, in fact, in the third quarter, Douglas.
Fine now, Ryan, you got it.
Well, they've been pretty good from the other pocket at this end, the Crows, in this match. Thompson and Henshaw. Can Douglas do it from here? No. Interesting that he'd take a shot from out there. It's the Otten grab, so Brown over the top, Otten the man in front. And McGlynn building on those record stats. He was unlucky last year, McGlynn. He got reported down in Tasmania and against Port Adelaide and never got his way back into a premiership team.
He's certainly a willing worker. Muston sold into trouble. Goes looking for the man who did the selling. That's Hodge, and he can't keep it in. So boundary throw in. As the pressure mounts on Hawthorn, time ticking away. And they trail by 24 points. It's 23 at three-quarter time. Vince, who just knocks up getting possessions. That wasn't one of his best. They've grazed the football. And the umpire still hasn't blown it up.
Let go, let go. Once you dragged it in, Brad, it's against you. Let go, let go, let go. Yes. Play on, play on.
Vince gallops away then. How about that? Lines up goal and hits the post. And they've had a few.
No, he dragged it in.
I think that's their fourth or third. Three. In the pocket now, it's Mitchell. He'll get 50.
Sorry, my fault, Luke. Mark's here. Richard. Grabbed him up.
This game has become about Hawthorn's efforts to get the ball forward as well as they can, but Adelaide have been able to defend it, turn the ball around, and really have been far more effective going to their forward line and moving through the midfield than the Hawthorn counterparts.
Lewis, who started very well in his 100th, back to Gillum. So slow build up here by the Hawks. Morton. And Morton's kick, a good one inside. McGlynn and Brown, and now Franklin, and well done Riley to get across. Big third quarter for Buddy. Can he produce a minor miracle here and bring Hawthorn back into the match and keep their season ticking? Van Berlo.
That's a throw. Surioli. Throw, mate. Go through, Simon. And that's on the full, please.
Once again, Surioli hooks that handball arm to prevent the opposition from getting the handball away, and he draws himself a free kick here.
That's your line. Yep, he's right on it.
So Rioli has hit the post a couple of times tonight. He kicked a brilliant goal in the first quarter. And he's missed again.
It was a big kick, wasn't it?
Yep. So Rioli, from set shots, came into this match for 6-6, and tonight 1 goal 3.
This is Thompson. Comes away from half back to midfield. Douglas. McLeod pushing through the centre. Showed too much of it to Hodge. Outmarked Knights. Kicks it back inside the 50, and Franklin. Is that 50?
Came in late, came in high late. 50 metres.
It is.
Yes, he did.
This will put him on the goal line. So Buddy Franklin is fired up in the second half. He's the man providing what is just a slender chance of victory. About to kick his 4th goal. They've all come in the second half. puts it through. 300 goals for that man.
It's a great place to attack from through the centre square, but it's also a terrible place to turn the ball over. And McLeod's kicking skills, I think, have been excellent tonight, but when he tried to go into the centre square and Hodge intercepted it, well, there was Hawthorn players really just screaming for the ball into the forward 50. And Franklin was able to, he was a bit unlucky, John Cock. He was getting there a bit late. He probably just went a bit too aggressive at the spoil, so the 50-metre made a certainty.
Well, Chance Bateman really looks like he's labouring now. There he is again on the interchange bench. He's come off. He really limped to the boundary line. Each time he comes off, the medico goes to him, and they give some treatment to that groin. So he really is going to struggle through this last quarter, you'd think.
Hawthorn, free kick.
Well, Hawthorn back to 18 points. Franklin with 4 goals. Sewell gets it from Mitchell. Kicking wide to Brown. Otten. Doughty, well done, Brown. Doughty did really well in the end. And then Otten. Adelaide just need to get the scoreboard going again here. Don't want to play safety first stuff at this stage. Symes got it from Edwards. Running hard, Symes. Good kick to Douglas.
On the line, on the line.
So again, Chipper calling for Douglas to kick it to the top of the square. And again, Douglas going for goal. And again, Douglas kicking a point. I reckon I'd be real happy if I was the big guy up forward.
I don't think he is. Bit of the Alistair Clarksons about young Richard Douglas facially. Here's Vince. Again, so much of the footy for the Crows tonight. Back to John Cock. Centering kick. Edwards. Good one. Centre on his left foot. Didn't kick it though. Otten. Now Doughty. Beside the centre circles. Launches one. Tippett. Well, a good mark is taken by Campbell. Showed the judgment there. Untidy hand pass. Mitchell comes away. Just jabs it outside the defensive 50. Gillam's got it now. 19 points the difference. Hawthorn have shown a lot of courage tonight. Continuing to come. They squandered a great start, but they're still not without claims here. That's not 15, surely. Gillam feeds it back. Mitchell kicks it up towards the wing. Renoff edged under the football by Stevens. McGlynn runs onto it though. McGlynn right at the interchange gates, just trying to lay the ball into the path of Kennedy. Does that successfully. Kennedy is 65 metres out. Franklin is dropping back. Renoff, he was the target, missed him. That's a catastrophic mistake.
Trouble now.
McLeod, Symes, they'll catch them on the rebound. They're in behind the zone. Good kick came from Douglas. And the mark has been taken by Knights directly in front, 35 metres out.
Good talk by Symes there to direct Douglas to the target inside 50, but the want of Hawthorn to come inside the centre corridor at times has really been their undoing. I mean, at times it just hasn't been a target there, and they've tried to force it.
Well, the Crows didn't have a man deep that was spare, and Franklin was running hard to the pocket, offering. The decision made by Kennedy may come back to haunt the Hawks. Lovely kick from Knights.
Yeah, sometimes it's decision making, sometimes skill. Whether he should have gone back inside, really, he had a free target. He just missed Renoff, and as soon as the ball went to ground near Renoff, he wasn't going to get the ground level footy, and the Crows swooped on the Hawthorn. They're all completely out of position. Now, really, really bad turnover.
It's been a terrific year, Knights, with these 33 goals. Kick 4 against the Hawks Knights earlier this year in round 10. It's his first tonight. And that gives Adelaide, you would think, comfortable breathing space. Sella tapped it straight back to Saul. Lewis, McLeod, good handball by Shields to McGlynn. Poor kick. He's having a big night, but that's a poor kick. But he couldn't quite find it. Then he takes Rutten down. Surely that's a free kick to Rutten. Oh, it's ridiculous.
You've got that, Jack.
And in frustration, Rutten puts down Franklin, and retrospectively, he might have been lucky in the end, but Buddy should have given the first one away. McGlynn, Lewis, hands and knees now. been caught holding the ball a lot, Hawthorn, over the last couple of matches, certainly against St Kilda last week and again tonight. Actually, Riley looking for Rutten. This is interesting. Now Rutten looking for Riley. And Riley looking for anything that is up in front of him. That middle half-forward flank hasn't been good to Riley in the last half an hour.
No. There he is. I'm reminded of the curious case of Benjamin Rutten. He kicked 3 goals with his first 3 kicks in the AFL and 2 goals with his last 800. So that hand pass was under duress as well. That wasn't convincing moments ago. Now there's a free kick and it's going to...
Get the ball straight to him.
Hawthorn.
Yeah, it's your kick. His kick. Bring the back straight to him now.
Glad we're not the only ones confused. McGlynn's got the ball. Well, he's run himself ragged, but his disposal on occasions has been poor. Goes in short. Shields takes the mark low down. Osborne. Campbell across the ground. Okay, now they need to go for it. Franklin wants the football. Schoenmakers just pops it inside the forward 50. The mark is taken by Taylor. Okay, Taylor goes back now. Directly in front. He'll kick from the 50. They're down by 25.
Good. A metre, please. Thank you.
What can the big man do? Just 10 minutes to go in this one now. So time and the score. The enemy, along with Taylor's kick to the pocket, off hands. Brown just bundled out of bounds by John Cock. It'll be thrown in.
Kick and quick hit.
There's the earlier one with Buddy and Rutten, and the truck gets up and down goes Buddy. Now Symes. Stevens back to Otten, and Otten's careful kick to Edwards.
Coming out yours.
He's got McLeod inside, runs a fair way. Edwards kick down the line. It's a 50-50 ball. Shirley bravely there, ran into a couple of players including a teammate. Now he's going to be pinged.
You dragged it back in, Rob. You dragged it back in, Rob. Hawthorn free kick. You dragged it in, mate.
It's not the spirit of the game, is it?
No.
And he copped a couple of knees as well while he was on the ground. Riley, Seller, Henschel running down towards half forward, can loop it over the top. Now Goodwin's a left footer. Well, he played it pretty easily there. Hand passes towards the corridor. McLeod comes up, misses his target, Thompson. Thompson with wonderful courage went back. Taylor, Hodge, the champs, one final hurrah here. Can they get it out of defence? Can they score a goal? Mitchell from the back pocket uses it well. Tuck has it. Tuck, the defensive side of the wing. That's not 15. Apparently it is. Schoenmakers has got it. Schoenmakers. Lewis. Now running hard for him is Rioli. Well, the kick held him up slightly. Needed to be further in front. Rioli working the mark defiantly. There is Van Berlo, and he got Rioli. Over the football, Thompson. Van Berlo slaps it forward. Shirley under pressure. Kennedy can't find a way through. The umpires let them play. This is a slog.
In reality, Hawthorn have kicked 4 goals, all from Buddy Franklin in the last 2.5 quarters. Can't see them doing it, Den, even though you're trying to talk it up.
Marriage. Doing editorials now, Den. Birchall.
He's a new man, isn't he?
Back to Franklin. Back to Lewis. I'm glad he's not critiquing me right now. Shields through the centre with a little one to half forward. Good kick. Oh. Yes.
Has to be a free.
I think that was a second thought free kick, but was obviously there.
No, in the back.
Have a look. I did not touch his back.
Touched his shoulders.
Yeah, I got it.
It's an argument that's never been won, though, isn't it?
No.
So Bateman. Last chance, eh?
No pun intended.
And there you go. Hitting the post.
That's it.
It looked good on the way through. I mean, we're sort of saying if Hawthorn don't win tonight, they're gone, but we've got to remember that it's Port Adelaide that are in the 8 at the moment. Probably enough said, but it's also Essendon and I guess Sydney mathematically, so it's not like anyone's knocking the door down, so who knows.
McLeod, Van Berlo, Douglas can pop it over the top, succeeds in doing that, and the mark is taken in the pocket, his pocket, he owns this pocket. Henschel, he's kicked a couple of goals from, well, one. Do you own it if you've kicked one from here? Let's make it 2. He's got 4. What a return it would be with 5 goals. He missed one early in the game. The breeze hasn't changed. It's pretty much the same. With his second kick from a little further out than this on the same angle, he gave the goals away, started it inside, or rather outside, of the goalpost nearest to him. What will he do here? Does exactly the same thing as he did the first time. Well, he split the difference, actually. It's a behind.
If you'd asked a Crow supporter 4 or 5 weeks ago, they wouldn't have given you 5 cents for his chances of playing a senior game again this year. So it's been the story of the night, certainly from an individual's point of view. Only twice has Henschel actually kicked 5 or more in a match, so he's sitting on 4. And down the line by Shields. Riley did very well, broke the tackle, little kick inside. McLeod, who's been so good tonight, and then tucked away in the pocket, goes to the front of the square. Knights couldn't quite, he's on the wrong side for him, gets, well, almost got back onto the right side, and Gillam worried him out of it in the end.
He looks sore, doesn't he?
Yeah. Sore. So Tippett doing battle with Campbell. McLeod over the back. Little give terrific from Knights to Portpleasure. Bouncing ball. Muston's a little handball. McLeod onto it. Little dinky left footer. Not quite. 3 behinds tonight, McLeod, but he's been one of the best, you would have thought, on the ground this evening.
So the margin 26 points, 5.5 minutes to go. Birchall to Bateman. Campbell back to Birchall. There's an echo out there as Lewis comes wide. That was 15. Schoenmakers. Tough season, and the Hawks have had no luck, and again tonight it hasn't run their way. Lewis goes down towards half forward. John Cock comes hard, got a fist on it. Well played. Doughty taken down on top of him. Kennedy, the ball rolls out as far as Marriage. He's gang tackled. Stevens did pretty well, gave it across to Van Berlo, to Vince, and now Rutten to the wing, and Riley. He's been handy. Goodwin back inside. Look out. Well played by Doughty. Thumps it towards the boundary line, and out it goes, and he's been a pretty good player for them tonight, Michael Doughty.
It's a very good decision, that one, not to take possession. He felt the Hawthorn player coming, so just punts it 25 metres forward into a stoppage.
So Marriage and also Renouf.
Tried. Never drag it in.
This time last week, Lee, you said that Carlton were having a good win over Geelong, but you didn't feel like it was a really good game of footy. You didn't feel like Carlton were terrific. Have you seen tonight? Because the margin's a bit similar.
Yeah, it's sluggish. I think both sides have been sluggish. Obviously, Hawthorn after quarter time have been pretty poor.
So Renouf coughing it up. Doughty again. Now uses Vince. Vince in trouble. Oh, Rioli's been effective with that tackle tonight.
Hasn't he?
Hit one out, isn't it, though?
Speaking of one out, Franklin's in the forward 50 at the moment, leading. He wants it over the back of Rutten, if they can get it in quickly. Now Savage, who can kick a long ball, and Buddy now running onto it. One hand up, couldn't quite. Stevens, John Cock. They've been good, this back 6 for the Crows. Vince. They can get Bob back in too. I mean, what a big in that'll be.
Well, he's really important for him because he really generates that run off the halfback. The running sort of centre-half backs, there are very few of them in the competition, and Bock's really good.
Well, Australian, of course, last season, and probably, when you examine it in isolation, he's their most important player.
Yeah, Buddy actually, Rutten, he just makes a little hold there on his right arm, just at the right moment. Not enough to give the free kick away. luckily, but very good defensive play in the end.
Mind you, we've seen it paid on occasions this season, haven't we?
Well, Buddy did the right thing. He kept trying to get to the ball. I reckon a lot of forwards actually try to play for the free kick at that point, and it doesn't make it as obvious to the umpire. But he kept going at the ball and gave him every chance of earning the free kick.
Renoff and Marriage towards the boundary. Tuck arrives quickly. And the ball goes out in front of Mitchell. Sam Mitchell again. 31 possessions. Keeps on racking them up.
I don't know how much the possessions have actually counted for Hawthorn tonight. Not a great deal. They lead Adelaide by 18 possessions, but they haven't been able to be damaging with them.
McLean over here. High contact, free kick.
Ben McGlynn is penalised. Van Berlo gets the free over the head of Riley. It runs on, taken by Brown. Kennedy back to Brown. Into the arms of Knights. Down he goes.
Still going. Osborne trying to get clear.
I don't think the founding fathers had this in mind when they came up with a game of Aussie rules, did they? Gee, they let them play.
Careful going down those stairs. But survived it all. No, it's not pretty.
Let him up, Kurt. Right on the mark. Right on the mark, Kurt.
So McGlynn.
Move it on.
And a big night he's had. 37 disposals. So the advantage given. So another one. A bit up and under. Mitchell, Dowdy again. Resolute. Vince. Quick hands were terrific. Lovely kick by Douglas.
3 on 2 down here for the Crows.
Well, the bounce favoured the Hawks there. Gillum puts Hodge under pressure. Birchall back to Hodge. Well, Douglas would have been better off tackling Shields. And now Rioli finding a way through. Tuck, Franklin. They ask a lot of Buddy at times again then. And now Mitchell. Haven't seen him in the forward half too often. Lovely kick to Saul, who's already kicked 1 goal tonight in the opening quarter. And, well, there you go, another poster. Just not their night, just not their season.
I guess the other consolation for Hawthorn is the 3 other teams, the Swans, Essendon and Port, are all playing sides above them on the ladder currently. So fair chance that the teams from 8th to 11th could all lose this weekend.
And their percentage is better than Port's.
Yeah.
Port do have to go to Brisbane the week after.
Dowdy. Renoff dropped the mark. 4 posters now to Hawthorn tonight. 3 to Adelaide. Edwards is away, roaming inside the 50. Will kick a goal. They've all run off him. He's missed.
We'll have to change in round 22 because Hawthorn play Essendon, and someone will have to win that game. Because it doesn't seem like they're going to win against anyone else, because someone's just going to fall into that 8th spot.
And the other minor thing tonight is that Adelaide mathematically can't miss the finals now. So for the 5th time in the 5 seasons that Neil Craig's coached them for the complete season, they've made the finals. He's batting 5 for 5. So Van Berlo back. In fact, tonight, that quarter-time deficit of 25 points, it's the biggest margin they've ever come from behind away from Amy Stadium at quarter-time and won. And the biggest margin at quarter-time they've come from behind in 12 years anywhere and won a match. So they've done that tonight. So against the odds, the Crows, with that quarter-time deficit.
Goodwin goes to the outer side. Otten looking down towards half forward, bypasses the lead. Long instead, reaching over the top. Knights. Good contested mark. Beating Mostyn. Centering kick. Ooh, down goes Douglas. Dying seconds of the game. Full credit to Adelaide. Interesting too, just watching the game, I would have sworn that Adelaide had more free kicks, but decidedly Hawthorn's way. Not that that means anything. 29-17. So Douglas will kick from just inside the 50. This to put the icing on the cake. Adelaide will pick up their 12th victory of the season. Douglas misses to the left-hand side.
It's been the side he's missed all 3 shots in this last quarter, Douglas, from that pocket. So Hawthorn, who started so promisingly, kicking the first 5 goals of the match. And Adelaide coming home over the top of them in that second and third quarter and get that all-important 12th win of the season, which will take them into finals footy yet again. Isn't that a great sight? Liam Shields on the left is the youngest player to have played AFL footy this year, and with him Rory Sloane in his first game.
Teammates last year at the Eastern Rangers.
Yeah, terrific stuff. Well, a bloke that's not quite 18 anymore, but he played like one tonight, is with Tim Watson.
Andrew, slow start. What were you thinking at quarter time?
Oh, look, we just knew that we're down in the contested ball and we needed to just ramp that up, and the second quarter we did that and got back in the contest.
They're always a tough opponent though, aren't they?
Oh, look, no doubt, and last year's grand finalists, and always a tough team playing over here on at the G as well. It's a great experience for our young blokes for finals time.
You've been around a long time. You know that getting a top 4 spot's all important. You're a strong chance to do that, do you think?
Look, we're just trying to finish as strong as we can for the the rest of the year, and we're just looking forward to hopefully playing finals footy, and what happens happens, and we'll just keep going and hopefully keep winning.
Well done again from you tonight.
Thanks, brother. Please.
Terrific, McLeod. Adelaide have won all their 3 games at the MCG this year. They beat Collingwood early on in round 1 and then beat Melbourne in the round 4, I think, from memory, and now here tonight. So good effort. Got a terrific away record this year, and they keep that going here. So
Still hasn't had a kick in senior footy, Rory Sloane.
but he made his mark.
No, didn't he? As we said, he only played the 45 minutes, 6 handballs, 7 tackles, and it looked like he didn't look out of place.
I'm not sure if they'll have another roll of that dice. We won't know probably until the end of the next round. So that's it. 67-94, the Crows over the Hawks on the Friday night footy at the G.